They said her medals were fake. They called her a liar, a fraud, a disgrace. But when the president himself entered the hall, everyone realized they had just accused the wrong woman. The hall was packed, yet the silence felt louder than any battlefield explosion Major Sarah Collins had ever heard. Old wooden chairs groaned under the weight of restless bodies. Even the ceiling fans seemed nervous as they sliced through the thick August air. People weren't breathing normally, they were waiting for her to break. At the front of the hall stood Sarah, back straight, chin lifted, but fingers trembling ever so slightly at her sides. Her uniform was spotless, pressed with military precision, and on her chest, medals, that told a story of courage few could imagine. But today, those medals weren't symbols of honor. Today, they were evidence. Evidence people believed she faked. Whispers had been spreading through town like wildfire for weeks. She didn't hear those. She's lying for attention. Where's the proof? And now, after enough rumors poisoned enough minds, here she was standing before a crowd demanding answers she legally wasn't allowed to give. A man in the third row leaned forward, his voice dripping with contempt. Major Collins, if these medals are real, where are your witnesses? Why haven't your comrades come forward? The question stabbed deeper than any bullet ever had, because she did have comrades. But most of them never made it back, and the rest, their missions were so classified, their names couldn't even be spoken aloud. Her mouth opened then closed. What could she say? That her silence was loyalty, not guilt. Across the hall, even some of her own fellow officers sat with folded arms, afraid of the scandal, afraid to defend her, afraid to stand beside her. This right here was a fight she wasn't trained for. A retired colonel suddenly stood, his medals clinking against his chest. These honors are sacred, he barked. Few, wear what you did not earn. Major, you insult every soldier who died for this country. The hall buzzed with agreement. But Sarah didn't flinch. She looked him in the eyes and spoke, soft but steady, a voice made of steel wrapped in sorrow. I know exactly what these medals represent, because I held the hands of the men who should have worn them, and I watched them not make it home. Her words hit the room like a slow, heavy wave. But doubt, once planted, grows fast. A woman in the back stood up. Stories. That's all you have. Where is your proof? Proof, that cursed word. The kind of proof that stayed forever, sealed inside government files. Sarah drew a breath to speak, but the hall doors suddenly swung open. 2 Secret Service agents entered first. Silence dropped like a hammer. And then, a figure walked in that made the entire hall rise to their feet. The President of the United States. Not scheduled, not expected, not imaginable. Sarah's heart stopped. She hadn't seen him since that night. Everything changed. The president approached her slowly, with the calm authority of a man who had seen more than he would ever admit. He turned to the crowd. I hear there are doubts about Major Collins. No one moved. Questions about the medals she wears. He stepped closer to Sarah. His gaze dropped to the highest medal on her chest. The Distinguished Service Cross, score. He raised his hand, touched it gently, and said, this medal. I was there when she earned it. Gasps shot through the hall. His voice grew louder. Years ago, during an ambush that will never make the news, our convoy was trapped. I was a senator then, and when we were surrounded, wounded, losing hope. He turned to Sarah. She is the one who saved us. The hall shook under the weight of those words. Continued. She took command when everyone else froze. She carried me bleeding through enemy fire. I am alive today because of Major Collins. Shock, guilt, silence. It spread through the room like a storm. The very people who had accused her now sat frozen, pale, unable to meet her eyes. The retired colonel looked down at his shoes. The woman who demanded proof slowly sank back into her seat. But Sarah wasn't looking at them. She wasn't looking for apologies. Her battle had never been for validation. The president placed a hand on her shoulder. Major Collins, this nation owes you more than it can ever repay. And as long as I lead this country, your name will be remembered with honor, not doubt. Applause erupted wave after wave like thunder rolling across mountains. But Sarah stood perfectly still. For the first time in years, she felt peace. Not because people finally believed her, but because the truth she carried in silence had finally been spoken aloud. If Sarah's story moved you, don't let it end here. Like the video, and comment on her if you respect unsung heroes. Share this story so more people hear the truth, and subscribe for more powerful emotional stories. Thank you for watching.